being the first time that retail can have access to the same markets that the financial institutions have, and that'll have potentially massive improvements in terms of the financial products that.
So if you had $1 million right now, you could go provide liquidity on this platform and earn 18% on $1 million. 500,000 of USDT, 500,000 of USDC. You go take that and you deploy that into this liquidity pool, and you could pretty much retire. I'm just saying. I mean, do the math on 18% on $1 million. That's enough passive income for most normal, regular people that don't have that right now, that are about to become multimillionaires after this next bull market cycle, to retire. Okay. And when I say retire, I mean like comfortably pay for all your necessities and your needs based off of passive monthly income. I'm not talking about living extravagantly and buying shit that you want. I'm just talking about paying your rent, paying your light bills, and paying your food bills, right? Maybe some debt, okay? You will have that money based off of, like, DeFi yield alone is about to provide that for a lot of people. Okay, again, the people that tap in. So, I'm just trying to show you guys that not only are institutions about to have access to this, but just like that guy said at the beginning, retail is now for the first time ever. All right. Retail is now for the first time ever. And this has been happening for the past, let's just say, like 4 to 5 years. DeFi is nothing new, relatively speaking, but it's the newer niche in crypto that not a lot of people are paying attention to. Okay. So I'm going to play this video clip. This is from, it's so funny because when I first played this video, this is from Stellar Development Foundation. For all you XLM holders out there, XLM has been freaking killing it. I'm so happy that I wasn't one of those people that's like, oh, I'm only going to buy XRP. And I bought a fat bag of both. Who can smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if y'all both bought XRP and XLM and you're happy on both investments and you're not one of those people that's like biased and opinionated and only thinks XRP is going to survive. Man, XLM has been killing it. But anyways, that's besides the point. Stellar Development Foundation posted this 3 weeks ago. Has 211 views, people. Okay, again, I'm showing you all, nobody's tapped into this. 211 views. You would think 3 weeks ago, a post from Stellar Development Foundation, more people will be tapped in, but no, nobody pays attention to DeFi. And what's this video about? It says, how institutions can navigate the DeFi landscape. Listen to what this gentleman here says about how institutions, they're already here. Okay, they're already here.
To get the next roll or wave of institutions involved in DeFi. We've had kind of the first big wave with the Bitcoin ETFs earlier this year and that big kind of click moment that happened. What will bring about the next wave?
I'm optimistic. I think it's already happening. I mean, 2 years ago, if a financial institution called me, I might be explaining what like a subnet is for the first time. And now when they call, they say they've got a team and they've already got one built. They know how validator nodes work. They know how signing works. They know how they're going to do it. I recognize there's still a lot that don't. I don't get those calls. I get the calls where it's like, I want to do this. Can we do it? And I am amazed by how informed many of them are. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that if you think about all the documentation that like Stellar has put out in public, that's the documentation these R&D teams go and study and basically build their prototypes. The number of prototypes that are happening everywhere from. I
really hope you guys just heard what he said. He just said that all of the documents that Stellar be putting out on this space, on DeFi and on crypto and whatnot, are the documents that these R&D teams from these financial institutions, they go and study. And he just said, when asked the question, how do we bring more adoption of DeFi via large scale institutions? He said, it's already happening. It's already happening. They're educated. 2 years ago, if an institution came into this space, they would be like, oh, what's going on? Or how do we get involved? Or they would kind of push it away. Now, he said, fast forward to today, that's all changed. They're coming to him. They're more educated. They're more prepared. They're more aware of what's taking place. And you heard him directly say that the documents that they're reading are literally the same exact documents that we're bringing to y'all's attention. Researchers like myself, Mr. Man, Smoke, Mr. Aqua, the ones that are actually giving you guys value and not pumping out random price projections, trying to fixate on spiking your dopamine. We're at the forefront. We're pioneers in this space. And if you don't understand that, again, you're going to get left behind because you're so fixated on price appreciation when in reality, you should be fixated on wealth transformation. Okay. I'm telling you guys right now, it's a mindset switch that you have to have. It takes strategy, it takes a mature approach, and it takes you being involved in a community of other like-minded individuals. For example, CYPRX. There's many others out there, but I use CYPRX, obviously, of course, because I'm the CEO. But come join, tap in, so that way you know this information. You know information that, again, people are not paying attention to. Like I said, this video was shared in our chat 3 weeks ago, has 211 views. I can honestly say that I'd say probably about 100 of these views, maybe even 150 views, are probably from our CYPRX research chat in our private Discord. Okay. So moving on, let's get into why institutions are going to be coming. Okay. Remember, I played this video clip for you guys months ago, before central banks started cutting rates this year, which we've seen now on a granular scale. ECB's cut rates, Bank of Canada's cut rates, Bank of England's cut rates, Federal Reserve cut rates 50 basis points in September. Okay. Swiss National Bank's cutting rates. And I played this video clip for you guys months ago, way before all that even started taking place. And I told you guys that the search for yield is going to continue to increase via institutions as their Fed funds rates and as all these interest rates start to go down. And what did you hear this individual representative say at the very beginning of this? Okay, remember, he said what they're attempting to do with this access to DeFi via institutions is they're attempting to beat the federal funds rate. They're attempting to provide yield that outperforms the federal funds rate. So going back to Paul Brody, let's go back to this post. Back to Paul Brody, he is the EY blockchain lead. Okay, if you don't know what EY is, they're a major consulting firm. I don't need to beat that dead horse. But do you guys remember this video clip that I played for you guys? Listen to what he says about a lower interest rate environment, and then think about what's happening. This video breakdown is from 6 months ago. I played it for you guys, and now only has 480 views. Yet again, showing you all that nobody's tapped into this stuff. Take a second here and listen.
They haven't succeeded yet. But I think, as interest rates do eventually come back down, the search for yield is going to go back into overdrive. And then I think that's going to bring back DeFi with a vengeance.
Right? He said the search for yield is going to continue to increase as interest rates continue to decline, and that's going to bring back DeFi with a vengeance. That's not coming from me. That is coming from the blockchain lead at EY. You can imagine the information that he's tapped into, right? Now, if we go over to my X profile, I posted this video clip via a document that the CYPRX researchers shared labeled FinTech in Asian 2024, a decade of innovation. This is from PwC, another major consulting firm. And look what they're talking about in this document. Cautious optimism as federal funds rate eases. The Federal Reserve recent interest rate cut on September 2024, the first since the third quarter 2019, may encourage a shift towards more favorable economic conditions for venture capitalist investments. As shown in this figure, lower interest rates typically lead to cheaper debt and a greater investor interest in venture capital, higher valuations, and improved exit opportunities. And if we scroll over here to this portion of the document, it says right here, DeFi and asset-backed tokens will bring value propositions, a key trait mentioned on page 20, further attracting individuals and institutions. Do you all freaking see this? This is, again, this is the second major consulting firm saying the same exact thing that the EY representative, Paul Brody, said to you guys 6 months ago. However, this document is more recent, okay? Now, fast forward to 8 days ago. Let's go back to Carpet Key, again, the institutional asset. Well, they're not an institutional asset manager, but again, they have access to large-scale institutions. You can see them all right here. This is their website, okay? $2 billion in their DeFi treasury network. Listen to what he says here. This just wraps everything up. Remember, 8 days ago now, this has 59 views, okay? And here he talks about how and why institutions are going to want to get involved in DeFi, because they're going to be able to predict their yield with DeFi. They're going to be able to have access to higher yields than the federal funds rate. Take a second here and listen.
And a simple way for an institution to create a strategy and extract, predictable yields on DeFi is a typical money market design, right? And we're talking about a variable rate strategy that, varies according to supply and demand in terms of funds. There's an LTV, so you can actually, post collateral up until a specific point. There's different markets, right? So, take for instance, this example, the AVV3 USDC market, and you can actually predict what the interest rate will be according to the supply and demand for that specific money market. And actually, these rates they've outperformed the U.S. Fed funds rate historically, especially in the last year. And the great thing about this is that they're expected to continue outperforming the U.S. Fed funds rate as it starts going down. If the U.S. Fed funds rate goes down, it means that potentially institutions are going to rotate their portfolios into riskier assets, meaning digital assets as well. And then there's going to be demand for leverage again, which is going to make the interest rates go up, right? So we have.
Boom. He literally just confirmed that the interest rates in DeFi, they're going to go up as the Fed funds rate in the interest rate environment from via major central banks globally goes down. It's going to only increase the demand for DeFi. I just showed you guys now 3 examples that probably all combined together barely have 1,000 views of information that we're tapped into here at CYPRX to back what it is that we're saying from people that have way more credentials than us ourselves. Do you all see? You guys see what I said a second ago where I said here at CYPRX, we're attempting to tap you guys into the matrix. We're not trying to pick apart the matrix, not tap you into it, but pick apart the matrix in such a way to get you to see what's happening behind the scenes. This is all stuff that is coming. I've shown you guys examples from BIS general managers telling you guys that this is possible. I showed you guys examples of how financial institutions have access to 18 to 25% yield, and how Marshall Hayner, this just literally came at such the perfect moment. Marshall Hayner tweeted this out. The masses are coming. They're about to start to see that these decentralized platforms are so much better than the centralized system, that in which we all know and have lived upon for all of our lives pretty much. And you guys heard the gentleman say that we're about to have access to this for the first time, okay? And it's just interesting that Marshall Hayner utilized the MetalX app as an example, where I showed you guys, if you were to come over to this platform right now, you have equal access to 18% yield on stablecoins. And I don't back this platform or say that it's the one you should go and use. I'm just using it as an example. Equal access to the same yield that financial institutions are about to have access to, as I showed you guys in this, again, mainnet launch, this whole platform that took place, this panel discussion, mainnet 2024, where this corporate key representative showed how they're about to provide institutional access to literally the same exact yield. Look at that right there. They're going to have access to 15 to 25% projected APR on stablecoins, USDC, right? So again, I'm not attempting to sit here and tell you guys, hey, go join the Wealth 28 Club so that way you can go and deploy into DeFi. I'm attempting to show you guys that now is the time to educate yourself. And we have built a trustworthy platform that'll literally take you from A to Z. You don't have to go search the web. You don't have to go watch 100,000 different YouTube videos and find different influencers. You head over to CYPRXtrading.com. You tap into the Wealth 28 Club. We're offering a holiday discount right now, 20% off your first month, to tap into hundreds of video breakdowns on DeFi, how to DeFi, what DeFi is, how we are exposing thousands of our own dollars of capital in DeFi to earn passive income. So that way you at least know how to tap into what is happening behind the scenes. This is the stuff that the banks don't want you to know about. They don't care if a couple people get rich off price appreciation in crypto. What they don't want you to know, just like in the traditional financial system, is how to maintain, scale, and grow your wealth. That's what they don't want you to know. Okay? Which is why you see video clips like this, they have barely any views. Anything that has to do with DeFi on YouTube gets hardly any views. I just showed you guys, here's another video. This is a DeFi, it's 480 views, right? This is from EY. We got Stellar posting videos about DeFi, 211 views, right? This is because this information is suppressed. They don't want you to know that you're going to be able to earn passive income in a way that you've never been able to do so before through a decentralized platform, that you're not going to have to rely on intermediaries anymore. You will be your own bank in the future, again, so you choose to migrate and adapt to this changing environment. If you don't, you'll be stuck in the centralized financial system, earning the same old minuscule yields and possible, exposure to failure via centralized systems that you've always had access to. Don't be that type of person. Be the type of person that migrates and transitions not only their mindset, but their education, okay? just to show you guys things that are aging extremely well. Does anybody remember when I posted this? If you're a CYPRX OG and you've been with me for a minute now, I posted this to you guys. I said on the X space, last bull market cycle, XRP, XLM, and HBAR had no DeFi ecosystem helping boost momentum like ETH did. That is all changed now for the first time ever. You've seen nothing but DeFi developments on the XRPL, Stellar, and Hedera. Buckle the F up. This ride will be different, utility bull run or not. The DeFi ecosystems alone on these three networks are about to explode in TVL over the next 8 to 12 months. I posted this for you guys back on July 15th, 2024. Keep in mind, at the same exact time, back in the middle of the year, I started realizing that central banks were doing what? Cutting interest rates. I just showed you guys the video breakdown of Paul Brody mentioning that the search for yield will continue to increase as the interest rate environment continues to decline. And now, fast forward to today, having this come into fruition, let's just take a look at the HBAR DeFi ecosystem, okay? Saucer Swap, just as an example, you guys obviously, of course, have seen the rally, right? You guys have seen the rally on HBAR over the past consecutive couple of days, okay? Well, check this out. Saucer Swap Labs just posted this yesterday. New weekly volume record. Saucer Swap has processed over 132 million in trading volume this week alone, and the weekly candle has not even closed yet. For perspective, we've executed more than 400,000 trades on the Hedera network this week, averaging nearly 1 per second, people, okay? And remember, this is from yesterday, right? I posted this to you guys a month ago telling you all that the DeFi ecosystem alone on these three networks was going to continue to scale. This is not to toot my own horn or boast or brag about making accurate callouts. This is to show you all that the reason and how I was able to do this and predict this possibility was because we are tapped into this information. If you've been here for the entirety of this video, if you were the first 250 people that tapped in and you're stuck around the entire time, you now have seen through, again, what they don't want you to see through. I've now shown you guys why it's imperative that you get involved, regardless if you come over to CYPRX and you take our course or not. In some way, shape, or form, you should start to familiarize yourself with the options and the availability that you have to equal access that these traditional financial players have had access to literally your entire life. And now for the first time, you have access to that. Don't be the type of person that pushes that away. Take advantage of it. But first, you need to learn a strategical, mature approach so that way you don't lose money, okay? Just like the BIS document said, now let's full circle to how I opened up this call. Let's go down the rabbit hole and read some of this digest so you guys can see that this info is coming from large-scale institutions and organizations like the BIS, okay? Why, again, should you attempt to join a like-minded community, a mentorship program, and not just try to approach this DeFi ecosystem by yourself, thinking that you know it all? Because again, the vast amount of retail participants, they get burned. So to full circle back to this BIS document, we'll scroll up to the top in just a second, but this is a DeFi document from the BIS that just came out in November 2024, and it says, they find that retail liquidity providers are out-competed by smaller groups of sophisticated agents that dominate liquidity provision. These players hold about 80% of total value locked and focus their attention on liquidity pools. While the average return for retail liquidity providers is positive, this is driven by the high profitability of a select few. That's probably some of us here at CYPRX, honest to God. In more than half of the days in our sample, retail liquidity providers lose money on risk-adjusted basis. Our findings highlight a trend where the ability to provide liquidity is becoming consolidated in the hands of a few sophisticated participants, with retail participants unable to effectively compete with them. All right. And I showed you guys that post over here from, give me a second. We have examples from our private community members of some of the best DeFi members in our private community making $420 a day. Over here, you know, we have individuals talking about how they entered their first liquidity pool and they earned, and they're pouring their heart out and saying, thank you for this community because it's truly educational. It's an opportunity to learn, right? We have individuals here also thanking us because of the Wealth 28 Club. Like, I'm just trying to show you guys that we are part of a very small percentage of retail investors in this space that are actually getting from what it is that we're providing in the form of educational material, okay? So tap in, let's jump into this document. Let's digest some of this information here, and let's pick apart some of the highlights that I have so you guys can see that it's, again, large-scale institutions and organizations telling you guys that this is possible. So this document is not only very interesting, and I personally think everybody should read it. I recommended it in our Discord. I recommended that everybody take a second this Sunday that is involved in our private Discord and they read this so that way we can gather insights from the institutions that actually matter. And we're not on Twitter, we're not on YouTube getting all this biased, opinionated research. That is another reason why we're extremely accurate here at CYPRX, because a lot of the information and the opinions that we gather on this space are generated from us reading institutional documents and watching these panel discussions on how these big banks and market participants are moving behind the scenes. Okay. So you can see this is from November 2024. Labeled BIS working paper, decentralized dealers. Right off the bat, it talked about, decentralized exchanges, what they are. I don't want to get into that nitty gritty, but let's just read some of this broad overview. So decentralized exchanges allow participants to buy and sell assets without the need for intermediaries. Relating back to that CNBC article, where over the next consecutive couple of months / years, we're going to continue to see the failure of the traditional financial system. Banks are going to collapse, fintech firms, all these centralized organizations, again, that don't have a good solid infrastructure to migrate over into this digital transformation are going to start to collapse. Okay. And as that happens, the search for trust and the search for steady, consistent savings and yield is going to only continue to increase. And DeFi is going to be the answer to that, the solution to that, especially as regulations evolve. So here it says, using data from the largest decentralized exchanges, we show that liquidity provision, rather than being the purview of a diffused set of market participants, is instead confined predominantly to a small group of sophisticated ones. These participants submit orders that mimic bids and asks and are able to extract significantly higher profits, both absolute and relative terms, compared to their unsophisticated counterparties. They also exhibit considerable skill extracting high profits during periods of high volatility, capturing a high share of trading without acquiring additional adverse selection. So I'm reading this because a lot of people, let's just say in crypto right now, natively think that in DeFi alone, it's really only retail investors, when in reality, you have the Bank of International Settlements telling you guys that it's sophisticated investors. It's people with much more money than retail. Here it says, one of the innovative applications that arguably exhibits the most potential is the development of decentralized exchanges. That's DEXs. Currently, DEXs are responsible for more than $10 billion of transactions of digital assets every day, with this figure continuing to grow as these markets gain further adoption. In DEXs, market participants are incentivized to provide liquidity through fees that are paid to liquidity providers who commit their assets to a liquidity pool. Now, remember, there's different strategies you can take. Interestingly enough, this BIS document talks about the same exact strategies that we cover in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club. Low risk, medium risk, high risk strategies that you can take to, again, provide liquidity in this space and start earning passive income. Access to these pools is possible for all market participants. Right here, it says it. This is again coming from the BIS. That means you, that means institutions, that means somebody in Africa in the lowest income earning area, that means somebody in Malibu in the highest income earning area. And it's not restricted to any subset of agents, unlike the high barriers to entry that exist in many traditional financial markets. That's exactly like what that guy from Carpet Key said about how for the first time ever, we as retail traders are about to have access to this. In this study, we analyzed liquidity provision in one of the largest DEXs, that's Uniswap v3, and provide insights into the behavior of market participants in terms of liquidity provision. The vast majority of liquidity, 65 to 85%, is provided by sophisticated participants. So for all the individuals who comment on my X posts all the time, that's like DeFi is too risky, institutions aren't here yet, you are wrong. Right here. That's not me telling you guys that. That is the BIS telling you all that. Retail liquidity providers manage their liquidity positions much less actively. They interact with substantially fewer liquidity pools and adjust their positions less often. Retail participants capture a much smaller share of the trading, 10 to 25%. And while they suffer less adverse selection, earn substantially lower returns on their invested capital than sophisticated counterparties. Retail participants exhibit substantially lower skill. I highlighted that for you guys. They are much less profitable in high volatility periods and do not seem to adapt their liquidity provisions and changing market conditions. Again, the reason why I'm reading this to you all is so that way you're not trying to jump into DeFi by yourself. You come, you take a mature educational approach, you tap into CYPRX trading and the Wealth 28 Club, so that way you have a higher skill than most retail participants that don't know what the heck they're doing, right? You don't have to beat around the bush. You don't have to watch 20 different influencers on YouTube. You have an A to Z course breaking down what DeFi is and how we are literally exposing thousands of our own dollars into this DeFi space to show you how this is all possible. Okay, let's continue. DEXs, an introduction to them. The stated objective of DEXs was to remove the need for intermediaries in the trading process and allow participants to provide liquidity, thereby democratizing the aspect of financial markets. The implementation of an AMM is realized through multiple smart contracts residing on the blockchain. Trading in AMMs occurs via liquidity pools, typically comprised two asset reserves. A liquidity provider contributes to the liquidity pool, earning trading fees in return, distributed proportionally based on the LP's liquidity share in the pool. Traders execute swaps between assets, paying a fixed percentage fee that ruminates LPs for their inventory and adverse selection risks. Part of the reason for AMM's growing popularity here, this is a very important part right here, is the potential to earn passive income, right? This is now coming from the Bank of International Settlements, right? This isn't coming from me. As a liquidity provider and providing liquidity to trading pools, LPs are able to earn income on their staked assets in the form of trading fees. Keep in mind, Marshall Hayner just posted something about solving a solution to the traditional financial system, and that was posted on freaking CNBC. These masses, the masses of people that, again, are tired of being burnt, because it's not going to be everybody. Everybody's not going to be educated to this, just like everybody isn't educated to investing in stocks or investing in bonds, or just, again, because they don't teach financial literacy in the school system. Not everybody is going to be tapped into this, but the people in the mainstream that are going to be tapped into this, the masses are going to continue to come, especially as the search for yield continues to increase and people start to realize that through the utilization of DeFi, you can earn passive income. Like, it's so crazy. And not only can you earn passive income, but you can do so in such a way where you mitigate your risk. You mitigate downside exposure to these markets, and you're just consistently earning. Liquidity provision strategies and modern AMM. So I just wanted to highlight for you guys that it talks about different liquidity provision strategies, like concentrated strategies in this document, unconcentrated ranges, range order strategies, and and just-in-time strategies, right? These are all similar to some of the strategies that we discussed thoroughly in the form of educational video material in the CYPRX content, okay? Which I just found interesting reading this document. It literally, I felt like I was going through a CYPRX Wealth 28 Club video, okay? It's just crazy, again, because this document came out this month. So it's interesting to see Bank of International Settlements tapping into information that we've been accurately providing for our private community for literally months now. Okay, this shows that we are ahead of the curve, way ahead of the curve. Now, last but not least, if we scroll right down here, this is where it gets into the portion and the conclusion where it talks about the size of, the sophisticated investors compared to retail. It talks about how retail traders really only have, on average, around $29,000 invested into the DeFi ecosystem, compared to these large-scale sophisticated investors have upwards of $3.7 million and above invested into the DeFi ecosystem. So do you really think that sophisticated investors, if DeFi was a scam, would be willing to go and put this much capital into the DeFi ecosystem? Let's just use this number as an example. Remember, I told you guys, utilizing the MiddleX app as an example, where you could take any amount of liquidity, go provide it on stablecoins and earn 18% just like a financial institution could. Let's say you make $3.7 million this next bull market cycle, okay? And you have the audacity to utilize it all to provide liquidity. And you went and you put $3.7 million into a platform that's earning you 18% on that money annually. You do the math on how much that is annually and then divide that by 12. That's how much you would be making passively per month. That is a lot of freaking money. They do not want you to know this. And this is all possible. They're telling you guys that in their documents, this is possible, okay? But they're also telling you in your documents that retail traders, again, if you scroll all the way down to the conclusion of this, suck. Retail traders lose. Retail traders don't have the skill. Retail traders, says right here, are unable to effectively compete with these more sophisticated investors. So to full circle and wrap all this up, okay, how I started this call off was showing you all that individual members in our private community, they are benefiting from the Wealth 28 Club, whether that's through just the form of education or they're actively taking steps to deploy into the DeFi ecosystem. We have members in this space right now that are earning upwards of $6,000 per month in DeFi passive income through the educational material that we provide. If after watching this video, at a minimum, you don't hop off this call and start reading documents and watching panel discussions about DeFi, there's going to be a portion, again, of individual investors that take action and ones that don't. Don't be a part of the portion of individual investors that don't take action. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys today. Like I said, juicy material, jumping in, panel discussions, BIS, documents, real research that's showing you guys that this is unfolding at a rapid pace. Not only are we putting our money where our mouth is at here at CYPRX, but over time, you guys are starting to see that the information that we provide is aging extremely well. That's because we provide non-biased educational information that we gather from these large-scale organizations and institutions. All that information goes readily unnoticed, and we project that information to you all to digest, to tap in to what not a lot of people in the retail community are tapped into. So head over to CYPRXtrading.com if you're interested. Like I said, you guys have the option to apply these discount codes right now. They're going to last until December 31st. So you guys will have the ability to utilize these discount codes into the holidays are coming up. You guys got shopping for your family to do, so on and so forth. So take advantage of these before the end of the year. That's why I extended the date. The team members only wanted me to allow this to last up until Cyber Monday, but I said, no, people need access to this. Again, a well-rounded educational platform that's straight to the point. You don't have to go out there and look for multiple sources of information. You have it all here, compact for you guys in different packages in CYPRX. Tap in, okay? 20% off your first month for the Wealth 28 Club, the DeFi University. If you guys want to take a more strategical approach and learn my strategy that I utilize in both the forex and crypto markets to day trade, okay? Then you guys can take a look at the advanced CYPRX trading course where you guys have 30% off your one-time fee to access that for a lifetime. Again, just read thoroughly through the website. Look at the different options that you have to tap into our private community. You will not regret it. You will only benefit, you will only educate and push your momentum forward in this digital infrastructure, this digital ecosystem, this digital transformation that is happening right now. You're going to want to tap in, okay? With that being said, as always, constantly providing gems for you guys, constantly putting you guys on the map and really showing you all that there is levels to succeeding in this market. It's not just about watching a YouTube video and gathering information from your favorite Twitter influencer. You really have to be tapped in. So with that being said, many blessings to you guys. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there. I would love to see you guys in the private CYPRX community. Remember, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and deploy in DeFi, even though I have thousands of dollars invested in the DeFi ecosystem, earning me thousands of dollars of passive income per month. I'm not telling you guys to go do that. What I am asking that you all go do is you persevere and you pursue an educational, strategical, and mature approach. Okay. And if we can provide that here for you guys at CYPRX, again, we will continue to do so countlessly on end, time after time. As always, I will see you guys in the next video breakdown.